Hey all, it's Cece Strong, and I am back spilling more of the LT. So this morning I am drinking a lemon herbal tea. Just cold outside, and it just actually helps with all things. Everything lemon I hear is good for you, cleansing you, your system, the whole nine yards. But so I love lemon. But today I want to talk to you about witness number 10. Witness number 10. Hmm. How do I even begin with witness number 10? So, this particular witness had an axe to grind strictly because they were not happy with the decisions made about their particular position. There was even a lot of work done to accommodate this witness who had originally been allowed to work in a different setting and environment. It was ironic that one of the things that was said that I had done to people was that I had them working out of class. So, in other words, they were doing jobs that they should not have been assigned to do. That was interesting and ironic because a lot of the people working at the unit were doing jobs that were outside of what their particular job role was when I arrived. I literally had a program and a project that we put in place called the Collateral Duty Assessment Project. What did that look like? We would take the job specification sheet for the person's particular title and we would go over that sheet because my goal and my thought was empowerment. If I could empower someone to actually do what was on their job specification list, it was a win-win situation for their current position that they were in and when they would later try to seek promotion, another assignment, something else to enhance their career. And now, this is not a Miss America, I'm looking for a crown. This is how I always operated. It's how I would always work. My thought was if you empower the foundation of anything, then you build the overall castle of everything. So, collateral duty assessment project, I would sit down with the people who had the title of that particular job position, and we would go over what their job duties were. In doing this project, it flushed out a lot of people working in areas they should not have been working in or doing tasks that might have been above what they should have actually been doing. It also shook the trees and rattled out the upper management people who were working jobs that were less than what was required of them. Now, where did this idea of the collateral duty assessment project come from? I remember someone reaching out to me because they were going to be transferred, and the transfer was unfair. So they wanted me to make sure that the managers were not mistreating them, and they had tried all the way as far as they could up through the manager to get answers for why they were being the one selected to be transferred as opposed to someone who was at the unit that had lower seniority. In trying to find out more information, because it was new for me and I was transitioning in as a unit commander, it was shortly thereafter I had stopped shadowing my predecessor as he was there for 3 months with me observing before I took over officially in April of 2018. I asked questions, of course, because I want to know who this person was. They reached all the way up to me as the unit commander, and I wanted to know what their reason was for their complaint. You see, I believe in complaints being investigated, looked into, questions being asked, and I have no problem with it because I think if you solve people's problems at the very base level, you don't allow them to grow. So I started asking questions, and I had one person tell me, well, I don't do that part of the medical because the person mentioned that they had an actual restriction. You have to see this person and they're off today. So, in essence, they were telling me as the unit commander that I would need to wait until someone else came in to work the next day so that I could even choose to delay the response to the person inquiring and wait for the other person, or I could take the next steps. In taking the next steps, it flushed out the fact that 40 plus people were with restrictions, and there was no tracking. There was no way to know what medical concerns were for people that would hinder their work in some way. And this unit basically could have cared less. It wasn't important because it was easier for the report to just have 6 key people placed on the report and turned in. I had a different philosophy. I decided to have all of those cases re-reviewed by what was called the Injury and Health Support Unit. That was not popular. Here's why. Because it was more comfortable to do less work, less amount of people on the reports, and hey, what's the big deal anyway? That's your medical concern. No one really cares, right? Well, this particular person was a huge witness number 10, that is, a huge recipient or benefactor of leaning on the fact that there were certain things that were restricted. Now, for obvious reasons, I'm not going to go into detail about someone else's medical concerns. However, we all know that during COVID-19, there were funds, things that actually allowed you to not be docked for time if you were exposed or if you actually had COVID. And this person basically capitalized on that. They submitted paperwork showing that they had been exposed to COVID. And then when there was a better benefit, it suddenly became that they had COVID. Add to this the collateral duty assessment project, which flushed out the fact that this person was actually doing one collateral duty that probably was taking up maybe a couple of hours out of their work week. And they could have been doing so much more with their title. In trying to work with them, I had them report to the headquarters building from one of the kitchens one day out of the week. This upset that person. And once again, in the pattern of leveraging whatever excuse they could, they served a notice from a doctor that precluded them from doing the work that I had requested that they do. Now, mind you, one of the out of class complaints that was huge in my case against me was that I had secretarial staff or admin staff, professional staff, working in the kitchens. This person was working in the kitchen field area when I first arrived. I actually met with this witness and she begged me to allow her to remain in the position that she was in. My predecessor had also mentioned that he had approved for this to happen. And she was not alone. There were others who were in varying ranks within the secretarial realm working within kitchens. I saw no problem with it at that time, save for the fact that this person occupied a space, 2 offices that could have been used for management level staff who had nowhere to sit, conduct their business, get on a computer, and assist with managing the unit, hence the title managers. When this was all brought up, this person lost it. I was a horrible person who had subjected her to unsavory conditions with her work environment. It went on and on. I was also surprised with a meeting suddenly with a union representative who called me because they knew me from the past and started a jovial conversation asking if they could still call me by my first name, which I had no problem with. And then suddenly, the other person, witness number 10, was on the phone and had been there the whole time. And the union representative said, so since I have you here, Cedra, I have witness number 10 on the phone who's not happy with her work conditions. So I would figure we could just go ahead and have a union meeting. I don't know about you, but if you are actually in a meeting, normally you know that you're going to be in it. It's almost like a doctor's appointment or something that you have on your calendar, not a spontaneous, oh, I've decided that we're now going to put you in a union meeting. But you know what? For most things, even if the things that I am caught off guard arrive, show up, I go with them. And in this case, I did. Luckily, I had my sergeant sitting in the office, so And it was a protection of sorts so that it wasn't said that I had mistreated someone, because that wasn't the first time someone had tried the whole she's not doing me right or fair. But each time that someone came up with that statement, it was automatically or almost instantaneously told to them that it wasn't true. I either had a document or something that would let them know that I was within the right of the position to have them perform, assigned a task, report back, notifications, whatever it was that they were complaining about. I think, and I'm pretty sure, in some cases for months, I went back and forth instead of doing what I had within my right to do as a unit commander, to just shut it down. And I think most unit commanders would have. But my philosophy was that the unit was so sorely mismanaged that I needed to do work to slowly move the needle forward. And I was willing to work with people. I sat in on this meeting, and during the meeting, witness number 10 lied. And guess what? I had an email that could prove that that lie was so. I sent it to the union representative and didn't hear much after that. Shortly thereafter, it was just, no problem, Lieutenant Strong. I believe that the person's going to want to move this above you to your commander. And that was never a fear for me. I wanted people to be able to grieve situations that they found themselves in or that they thought that they were in. I didn't fear that because I knew that I was never intending to do harm to others. So I welcomed the ability to have another opinion and a review, even if it was above me. My commander knew who I was. And let me be clear, it wasn't the commander involved in my case. It was my previous supervisor, the one that saw the outstanding work that I was doing and actually put that in writing. He met with witness number 10, and basically, he was not happy with the way that it was presented. And because witness number 10 did not get her way with me, and then also with the commander shutting it down, she had every reason to actually be an axe grinding witness in a case against me. Not to mention that she had actually received a write-up for lying on documentation when you say I'm exposed and then no, I'm not. I actually had COVID, because there's a benefit involved. I wish I were making this up, but I'm not. And sometimes I think people live in a space where they gauge and strategically think about what they're going to share and what they're not. I've shared nothing about this person and their actual identity, other than I said she and I referenced it. But I am spilling the LT. And as I'm spilling the LT, because I was spilled all over the place with no one having any consideration for marring my name, my character, and not thinking of what that could have done to me. Save for my faith and my family and my amazing friends who have propped me up, I'm able to continue forward, sipping my tea, contemplating what happened and trying to figure it out, because most of the people who were willing to speak so blatantly in comments, in documents, or let me say, anonymous letters that came from Lord knows where and who, were not strong enough to actually speak as I am doing right now, to let the story be told. I guess I'll never really know what true character is in these individuals, or if it even exists. Because character is being able to stand behind what you stand behind. Stand for something, or you will fall for everything. It's not my quote. It belongs to someone else. Anyway, lemon herbal tea. That's what I'm actually having today. And I offer to each of you a good day for the rest of your day and God's blessings. Stick around because there's so much more on the horizon to come with being able to help others to load their law enforcement leadership lockers, to have bravery beyond the badge, and for leveraging law enforcement leadership in a good way. Just because this LT was spilled, it never changed what really was and who I really am and what I brought to the table for so many years. So, goodbye for now. This is Cece Strong, and I pray for each of you an amazing day.